Jaden, introduce yourself.
What do I do?
Just say hi. I don't know, dude. This is off to a great start.
No, like we're
Right.
gonna cut this obviously, but
Yeah,
like
right.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Aspect Podcast, episode 1. You're watching this on the morning of March 13th, Wednesday, March 13th. And my name is Trey. I'm kind of like the moderator of this whole thing. And whoever wants to introduce themselves next, say what's up.
My name is
um
Xavier. I'm just here, ready to talk anything about sports.
Oh, that was depressing. All right, Jacob, take it away.
What's good? What's good? My name is Jacob, all the way from California. I'm a big sports fan, mainly more of a basketball guy, so I'll be on the ride for NBA stuff, trying to learn as much as I can about the NFL as well. I'm not excited to be here.
Hi, my name is Colin. I do apologize. My voice is not ready here today, so I'll be back in future episodes. But really, I'm here to talk about baseball, football, and basketball, and keep in some unique facts in between all that.
my name is Jaden, aka Basketball Aspect, and I'm the founder of this. And I just want to shout out Jonathan, Alex, and Andrew who are not here with us today, and James. But next episode they'll be here.
Yeah. All right. So let's get down to business. First thing that I wanted to open up with is I wanted to open up with a fun little segment. It's called Free Agency Frenzy. For context, this is being recorded on Monday night, so things could have happened by the time you're watching this. Things could have happened yesterday on Tuesday, but I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna rattle off 12 things, and then we'll just go from the top and whatever. So 1 through 12, whatever. We got Saquon Barkley to the Eagles, Russell Wilson to the Steelers. Kirk Cousins went over to Atlanta today. Tommy Townsend, the Chiefs punter, went to the Texans. Jerry Jeudy went off to the Browns a couple days ago. Leonard Williams, Jaden, went off to the Seahawks. Jaden's a Seahawks fan. Austin Eckler signed with the Commanders. Devontae Parker got released by the Patriots. The Packers released Aaron Jones. Josh Jacobs went to the Packers. Gabe Davis went to the Jags. Tony Pollard to the Titans. And DeAndre Swift to the Bears. I think we should start off with probably the biggest move so far and talk about Saquon to the Eagles. Jaden, do you have anything you want to say about that?
I saw a lot of Giants fans are really mad at it, but how are you gonna be mad at him for taking that contract? I mean, he's getting money for a better team. You know, it sucks for Giants fans, but it's really good for the Eagles.
I think that those Eagles are going to be actually like unstoppable now. Like that offense, but they got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and now what's that? There's another back that I'm not thinking of, but regardless, I think that like the Giants fans, you said Giants fans get mad at Saquon. I don't understand how Giants fans get mad at Saquon. I guess you could say he's asking for too much, but he has like top 5 potential in this league, and he's just been wasted like on the Giants ever since he was drafted in 2018. I mean, he's had solid numbers on one of the worst teams in the NFL in that 5-year, 6-year time frame.
I would just like to say, Derrick Henry went to the Ravens for $6.5 million a year
Are you serious?
just now, 3 minutes ago.
Just now. Oh, okay. This is good. Free agent frenzy. He did say that he was never going to play in
Um,
Tennessee again.
yeah, so no, I think the running back market's really, it's weird because Joe Mixon just got cut.
Yes.
They signed Zach Moss, I believe, just earlier
Mhm.
today. This Bengals
Yep.
did. I don't understand the Eckler thing. I think I want to bring up to that with Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that does confuse me
that
because
confused me a lot too.
but to be fair though, Antonio Gibson did go to the Patriots. So maybe that kind of plays a little part in it.
Yeah, but I mean, 2-year deal. He had a down year. I don't. He was always talking about how running backs are so devalued, but then he took the lowest annual value contract, which is a little concerning to me.
But yeah. But you know what? The commander that NFC East is going to be so like intriguing this year. Except I will say this is a fact. Every team this offseason has made a move in terms of re-signing a player, trading a player. Every single team has made a move this offseason. That is a fact, except for the Dallas Cowboys. They've released Tony Pollard, whatever. I think he was just released and signed by the Titans. I actually don't know the details about that, but I do know that it's true. The Cowboys have yet to make a move this offseason. The Eagles obviously signing Saquon. The Giants actually just signed who do they get?
Giants have made some moves today.
They got Brian Burns and Devin Singletary as
Yeah, they signed Burns to I believe 5 years, 150 million extension.
Yeah,
yeah.
and Singletary was a very nice replacement for Saquon.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. I don't know if it matches the whole level of
Oh,
Saquon Barkley.
no. It
I'm
doesn't.
not comparing Devin Singletary to
But
Saquon Barkley.
but at least they have an option, you know.
Yeah.
Now, I do have this question. So, 1.74 billion was spent today on NFL free agents. Do we think the NFL spends too much on their players?
I think that the NFL is a top friggin' market, bro, and whatever they can pay, they should.
Yeah.
That's how you stay at the top.
I mean, Kirk Cousins, 45 million, 40
Kirk
million.
Cousins got paid a stupid amount of money for me and Jaden were actually talking about this earlier. You know, he's received the second most amount of money in NFL
Career
history.
earnings in NFL history, and
Yeah,
he has
it's
one
a joke.
playoff win in his career.
It's a joke.
It is a joke.
It's insane, and he's coming off the Achilles. Let's not forget that.
But they did say his 8 games, he was number 1 in touchdown passes, number 2
Yeah.
in yards. He definitely
No,
deserves
he was balling, but coming off an Achilles injury, I don't know.
I think this whole idea about I just want to preface, I'm trying to get into football, so if I say anything, I just want to say it's coming from a casual. But I think looking at numbers like compared to like the NBA, I do notice that like contracts are like smaller, like on average are smaller, especially for like names that I know are like generally stars. If I compare that guy to like someone who is of a similar level in the NBA equivalent, like the contracts are huge in the NBA. So I don't know if it has anything to do with like, for example, the NBA becoming a much more global market. That might have something to do with it.
So you're saying that the NBA contracts are significantly higher or lower than NFL?
Larger, especially it's like comparing like let's say like some of the top contracts now are pushing
Yeah.
like 50, 60 million. They're being thrown
You
around
know
like,
what?
it's a casual buck.
You know what? I gotta side with Colin. It's gotta be those roster size. Each team is granted on top of on top of like their practice squad, they're granted 53 players. So
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
definitely agree. That's definitely a
Yeah,
good
no,
point.
that's definitely a big part of it. Yeah.
the thing with the NFL is that careers sometimes are very short-lived. You know, like you don't want to guarantee a lot of money sometimes because you don't know where that money's going to go in 5 years, if that guy's still going to be on your team, if he's going to be as reliable. Because you also have to keep in mind one injury. Like, it's a tackle sport. It's a very physical sport. One injury and all that guaranteed money that you just promised is out the window. I'm not saying basketball isn't dangerous, but you got to admit, you see a lot more blown ACLs, a lot more broken bones in football and career-ending injuries in football than you would in basketball. I feel like tenure in the NBA is a lot longer than NFL. I don't know.
Well, if you actually look at it, the average NBA career length is only 1.2 years longer than the NFL.
but it's still
Which
long.
it is longer, but I think basketball is also a lower contact sport, like you were saying. So
Yeah, I definitely agree too. Like, I think that's also why in the NFL, restructuring contracts is so much easier to, get out of those like tight financial locks as opposed to the NBA. Like, guys are getting like guaranteed 3-year salaries, for
Well,
millions of dollars. And even if they don't live up to that, a lot of teams are unfortunately t stuck to that.
but I think like with all these, like, I don't know, but I am seeing like a lot of big contracts getting signed. Like this whole offseason has been just nuts. I've been on Twitter more, or X now, more than I've ever been in my whole life. And it's just every 5 minutes, I feel like I'm refreshing and some huge story is breaking. I think Jaden, was it Sauce Gardner that tweeted that he felt like he was in a Madden like franchise
Oh
league?
yeah, that was Sauce Gardner. He posted on Twitter earlier, and he said that with all the moves going on, he felt like it was a franchise.
So with that in mind, with T. Higgins, what are we thinking here? Because these dudes are moving around. I've seen 3 spots. I've seen Chicago, I've seen Seattle, and I've seen Kansas City. Let's hope it's not the Chiefs.
You know what? You know
I
what?
would like to know your thoughts on that.
I want to open a subtopic, and we can obviously circle back to T. Higgins, but I don't see him going to Chicago if Fields doesn't stay.
I mean, they're bringing in pieces. Why wouldn't you go with Fields, trade one of your picks?
Isn't Fields getting traded to Las Vegas?
No, they signed Gardner Minshew though.
Yeah.
Oh, they did? I
Yeah.
was in
2
practice.
years.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with Fields. If T. Higgins ends up going to Chicago, I think they really should start that, because T. Higgins is still fairly young. I think they should really start building around Fields rather than just letting him walk. Because I feel like if they let him walk, he came into the league a bear. He's been groomed a bear, and now he wants out. I feel like if he leaves Chicago, I don't think he's gonna have nearly as much success as he would if he stuck it out in Chicago. And that GM actually started, whoever it is, I don't know the name, actually started to build around him and groom him to be their franchise quarterback. He has that talent, but it's just being wasted because it's Chicago. There's no help.
Okay, so how about this? Colts owner Jim Irsay came out and is basically looking to get Fields as a backup for Anthony Richardson on the Colts.
That's no way. You can't have Fields be a backup. If you were gonna have Fields be a backup, it would have to be on a team. I'm a Jets fan. I don't want it to happen, but it would have to be something like an Aaron Rodgers situation where you would have the kid be mentored and
Yeah,
like I said,
but
groomed.
that's not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen. But if a GM was smart, they would
Yeah.
offer him that money and offer him the incentive to come and study under a vet. But in my opinion, if I'm a GM, I wouldn't do that. If I'm Chicago, I'm signing him back. I don't care the cost, and I'm building around him. I'm not saying go for a Super Bowl in 2024,
Yeah, no, I
but I am
understand.
saying you should definitely be building around this kid because I'm telling you, he has talent. He's shown it. He's proved that he can win in the NFL if he actually has help. Maybe that's just a bad take. Speaking of takes, I'm gonna transition from free agency frenzy into Colin's corner.
So basically, this segment here is probably I'd say a transition period where I'll bring up a couple facts, and as we transition to a new sport, new topic, we can build off of those and just kind of continue with the flow of things. So what I want to start with today is the 76ers Knicks game from yesterday. The fewest Knicks score the fewest points since 2018 and lost the Sixers with what was it, about 73 points.
Yeah,
So
79,
79,
73.
73.
so with that being in mind, there's a lot of people talking about how defense needs to be fixed. We need defensive rules. But I want to know, what are your insights with this low scoring game and how does that affect the defensive, I guess, argument in the NBA right now?
I don't know how hot of a take this is, but like I think the whole thing about, oh yeah, defense is like people can't play defense anymore, it's too easy. I think that's just like overblown, honestly, if I'm being honest. I think players in the league now, even just like 5, 10 years ago, are growing so much more offensively talented than just ever before. Like just a few stats. This year, 2023, 2024, the league's three-point percentage, effective field goal percentage, and offensive rating are the highest they've ever been. And I don't think that's necessarily a problem with like, oh, people just cannot play defense anymore, or like defense, the rules are way too in favor of the offense. Like this year, they introduced a new thing about technical fouls leading to a flop, or technical fouls as punishment for a flop, for example. I think that's a good step in the right direction. I think some criticisms I would have on defensive rules, I think there should be probably a bigger crackdown, on like, carrying the ball. I think ball handlers tend to get away with stuff like that, especially on crossovers, a bit more than they should. But in general, I think the offense in the NBA is just becoming so much more talented. You had Luka a few years back talking about, it's easier to score in the NBA than overseas in Europe. And I think that's like half true, but part of that is just you have so many guys, Luka, for example, so many of these young guys who are playing overseas and in professional leagues. You have the G League Ignite. They're coming into the league with so much experience, so much raw talent that's probably why we see this scoring outburst.
So you know
And to
what?
address, yeah, go
I
ahead,
have
go ahead.
I have a question for you. So
Yeah,
if we're
yeah.
getting all this experience and raw talent, do you think that it's a matter of these defensive rules need to be changed around, or do you think it's a matter of these in a sense the Steph Curry effect? These coaches need to start coaching their players from their high school to maybe start cracking down more on defense rather than, okay, they scored, give me the ball, I'm about to go shoot a three, I'm about to go get more points. Do you think maybe it's more of a defensive like issue internally in terms of the teams or like the league itself?
Yeah, I think to, I guess, reiterate what I was saying, I think my problem isn't really with the league. I think the rules are there. I think the rules are what they should be. My thing about, ball carrying, I think is to be talked about. So I guess my problem is less with the rules of the league and two things. One, players just need to like commit on defense. Obviously some players just don't try on defense. And then my second thing, real quickly, I know Jay had something to add real quick. My second thing though is less about the rules and more on the refs themselves on being consistent in what they call. Because there are games where refs are making right calls. They're just not doing it every night as they should be doing. But with that being said, Jaden, you had something earlier.
Yeah. But I was gonna say about the new defensive rules, in correlation to like how the games are recently, especially with Philly and New York, that was a big test, I guess. There's always gonna be games where teams are gonna score less points and shoot bad. And overall that doesn't have a big effect on everyday defense, like or game to game defense, I should say. So I don't think like a rule should be based off of one game, but I definitely do think there will be changes, and Adam Silver has pushed that, and the whole board is gonna definitely go over like a new rule, and we'll see what it is. But I have no clue right now.
I don't really follow basketball all that much. Again, all my basketball takes are coming from casual, but but I gotta say, I'm with Jacob on the fact that I don't think that a rule change is necessarily like what's needed. I do think the refs definitely we need to have a crackdown on these refs 100%. It's been terrible across all sports, like baseball, the umpires, football, the refs, basketball, especially the ref. Like I just think it's not a matter of something that the league needs to change, like the rules. I think it's a matter of I feel like defense has lost its place in the in the NBA. This is again coming from a casual, but I just don't know if like with the basketball I watch at this point. I think it's a matter of these coaches need to start grooming their players into being more defensive minded rather than these players who come out and we're all guilty of it. We try and go out and we try and stat pad on offense, points, rebounds, whatever, assists. We like offense is where it's at. Defense is kind of like lost place, I feel.
So kind of tying everything together, Trey, you were saying that players should be giving more effort into defense,
Totally.
something like that. So kind of rebounding on what Jacob was saying, players have become so offensively gifted and the game has changed to where you're comparing like, for example, like the 90s or the 80s where three-point shooting wasn't as, important as it is now. As you're saying, teams are making like an average, like, it's normal for a team to make like 18 three-pointers in the game. I feel like the three-point shooting really opened up, a new way of scoring and more points being scored in games. And also the 90s and all the 80s didn't have players like Victor Wembanyama, who's like a 7'3" forward.
Yeah, you're right. They had Shaquille O'Neal, who was a 7'1" absolute diesel engine of
But
a
I'm
unit.
talking about the skill. You didn't have Shaquille O'Neal doing these crossover dribbles or anything like that. He had the skill level is nowhere near Victor Wembanyama or
Yeah, but
Kevin
you could say the
Durant.
same thing. Yeah, exactly. There was no Kevin Durant, There was no players like that. I did just want to add quickly though. NBA as of this season has 7 more shot attempts per team, so 14 more per games in the past 10 years. So do we think it's a lack of defense or just there's more shots up and
Okay, that's I'm gonna talk for like 2 seconds. I don't think that the shot taking has anything to do with lack of defense. I think definitely you take more shots, you're gonna make more shots. That makes sense. My whole broad claim was there needs to be more emphasis on defense. That's what I was trying to get at. Jacob, Jaden, Xavier definitely gonna have a lot more insight on that, so I'm gonna let them talk.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point with the attempts thing, but I think I agree. I think it's less about the defense just being poor and more about just the pace of the game, right? Because like if you compare it to like the early 2000s, right? And even the 90s, right? You had the 90s, the triangle offense with, Phil Jackson. The 2000s, you had a lot of teams being led by back to the basket big men and a lot of post up guys, whether it be KG, Tim Duncan, Dirk. A lot of these offenses were running through the post and weren't as perimeter oriented. So as a result, you have possessions that take longer to set up the shot, as opposed to now when guys are lighting it up from 30 feet deep, they can cross the court and in 2 seconds they're going to get to their jump shot. As a result, possessions are shorter, shots are being taken faster, and as a result, we're just taking more shots. So it's forced as offenses evolve. I do agree that defenses have to evolve with it, but I don't think it's this explosion in shot attempts is necessarily because the defense is just not there. I just think we're evolving in how we like to play. And, we can call it the Stephen Curry effect for sure. But in general, the fact that shots are being taken more quickly and from farther away. That's probably a big reason why shot attempts are skyrocketing as they are this year.
That's an
I
excellent.
agree.
I totally agree with every word that you just said.
So another thing about, defense, having to evolve with the offense evolving also. I feel the refing is a big toll. I feel refs should be penalized or fined in some sort of way, if these bad calls are being made. Another thing, the defensive rule changes. I feel that's a really good step forward to more defense oriented games rather than just offense and a little bit of defense. So I feel the NBA is in a really good step forward right now.
I have a question, and there's a high percentage chance that this question could be totally edited out because I'm such a casual. But like, my question is, do you guys think that like the NBA, in terms of these refs and calling these fouls and whatever, do you think that the NBA is more tailored now into like we gotta keep our players safe and like protected rather than let the players play?
Absolutely not.
No?
If Draymond Green was not banned from the league this season,
Oh,
and
no.
some of
They're
the
not gonna ban
excessive
a player
things
from the
he's
league.
done,
I'm gonna offer I'm gonna keep this so short because there's a chance this gets edited out, like I said. But a couple weeks ago, Jaden would definitely remember. The Knicks were playing somebody. Jalen Brunson went up and like before contact was even made, because by the way there was none. The ref called a
It was the
foul.
Houston game.
Yes, the ref called a foul, and they shot 3 free throws. They made one. The Knicks ended up losing by like 1. I watched that and I was like, bro, this is like a classic. Like that ref just did not let the players play. Like that was the most horse thing I've ever seen in my life. Like I don't know. Again, casual, but like, what do you guys think? My question, I guess, physicality in terms of the game. Like, what do you think is like? Do you think it's fine where it is? Do you think maybe we should go back to more of like a '90s approach where players are bodying players and nobody cares, or like, are we good where we're at now?
do you guys mind if I take this one to start off?
Take it.
I think the fouls and everything are okay. I do think the distribution is not though. When you have star players, which it's been proven, taking 4, 5, 6 more free throws a game than your average player, I think that needs to be really toned back and a little more balanced, in my opinion. If anyone wants to add on to that, you can go ahead. So
Yeah, yeah. Something I noticed is that Joel Embiid, every game I've watched, he's shooting probably like 20 free throws a game. And I know that he's a big guy and all that. It's kind of hard to defend, this really big dude in the paint, but I feel like some of these fouls are being given to him. I don't know if you should be giving this guy 20 something free throws a game. I feel like there should be like some sort of like way they could like maybe cut down the free throw attempts.
So, do you think a fundamental problem would be the refs?
Part of it is, yeah, me
absolutely,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. The thing I remember hearing about that Knicks Rockets game, I didn't watch all the way through, but like especially at the end of games with the whole letting players play thing, I think my problem isn't with just the refs either calling it or not calling it. My problem is consistent, like a lack of consistency. I think I'm honestly cool either way. Like I understand the argument from both sides, either oh let them play because it's a good thing for the fans or whatever. Or the other argument being, you should call the foul because, the rules are the rules. I think the problem comes when like it's just so inconsistent, right? The reason I feel like it's such a problem, like for fans to see, is because like 9 out of 10 times the refs normally don't call that foul because they normally let the players let the players play. But in those like one-off chances, like against the Knicks and Rockets, where they do call it, now it's like, oh, that's that was unnecessary, whatever. I guess to circle back to Joel Embiid and the whole the free throw merchant whatever case. I think it's hard to really do something about because you do have like you look at the top two guys being Embiid and Giannis in free throw attempts. They're such physical big guys. It's hard not to make contact with them. I think if I were to propose one kind of rule, it would probably be to modify what constitutes as a foul, especially if the contact is being caused by Embiid or Giannis driving into the guy and like jumping up into them instead of the defender actually hitting them first, that might be something to look at. That's pretty much how I feel about the whole free throw thing.
This has been a lot better than I actually thought for like our first episode. This is great. We are running out of time. For context, we have about 8 minutes left before we gotta kind of pack it up. So let's open up baseball discussion. Even though I play the sport, I know absolutely nothing about it. So
I have no clue about baseball, so I'm gonna just stay silent.
yeah, I'm gonna stay silent. I've been talking this whole time. I'm not even a casual in baseball. I'm quite literally don't know what I'm talking about. This is more of a Xavier, Colin, maybe Jacob type thing. So you guys take that away, and I'll cut you off with about a minute and a half left. You got like 6 minutes.
It'll be an
All right.
Xavier Collin thing. I got nothing either,
All right.
man.
I will bring up a question because majority of us are from New York, so either Yankees
Mm,
fan, Mets fan,
yeah.
whatever. So the two leaders in ERA last year were Blake Snell and Garrett Cole. So with
Mm.
Blake Snell being a free agent and Garrett Cole recently getting hurt, MRI is coming out tomorrow. Xavier, do you think it would be a smart move for the Yankees to go after Blake Snell with that's like Garrett Cole being hurt for a decent amount of time?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Blake Snell, one of the lowest ERA, one of his best seasons last year. You definitely need a lot of pitching because injuries are really common with baseball players. You know, the most common injury most likely being Tommy John, you know, where pitchers, you know, out for the rest of the season. I feel it's always good to stack up on pitchers, especially guys like Blake Snell. You definitely have the money to sign Blake Snell. So you definitely as a Yankees organization, you definitely need to sign Snell. Especially Cole's getting older. I feel it's very important to sign as much pitching as you can.
Just out of curiosity, Colin, Xavier, what teams are you guys fans of?
Guardians.
I am a Yankees fan, so I had that.
The
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland, so you know I support my.
I do want to add there, although baseball is starting in a couple weeks, there's not much really news as some of the big name free agents are still not signed.
Oh my goodness.
So there's
Pete Alonso. That's like the one thing I know. Like they aren't they like not paying him?
well, the thing with that is the one main agent is like toying with the MLB and he's trying to get the most money for his guys possible. So that's Snell, Alonso, I believe Correa is with him, a couple other guys. He has like 70% MLB, and he's kind of saying screw you to MLB, and we'll wait out as long as possible to get the money we want.
You know what? I'm gonna back up Broad real quick. Like I've been on the Twitter for like a week now. This stretch of a couple months, this has been one of the more hectic times for all the sports, the football, basketball, baseball, well, not really baseball, but like that I've seen in a long time. Like I think that the NBA has taken this like turn and it's becoming so much more popular with the integration of these European players. Like everybody's getting a whole new dynamic. Football this offseason has been absolutely nuts. I'm annoyed that we don't have more time to really had an opportunity to go over everything. Baseball, I mean it's America's game, man. You got people that like you got people that don't like it, but that's pretty much it. So I don't know. I mean, does anybody else want to touch on like that in terms of like a whole broad sports perspective, like what we're all kind of living through right now in terms of like just the sports world right now?
I think America needed, you know, this type of hectic times, especially with all the sports. I feel the past couple of years it's been good, but I haven't witnessed this much chaos in all these sports for a while.
Yeah, just like a good, nice, hectic aspect to my life, and I love it honestly. Like I just love opening like Twitter, Instagram, just seeing like the craziest like
Oh
woke
my
bomb
God.
just like in front of my feed. Like I'll be in the middle of like class or whatever, trying to contain myself, trying to listen to a lecture at the same time, but I can't because like some all-star just like signed to a super team. It's
Yes,
crazy. I
man.
love it.
Dude, when the Saquon news broke, man, I was holding my laptop. I straight up almost dropped it. Like I'm not even kidding. Everything just has been, I don't know. I'm excited to see what this offseason has in store for the NFL, continuing it, considering it just like began. Like
Yeah, that was a crazy day one. That was
I
a
am
crazy day
so
one.
I am so like enthused and like looking forward to what this offseason has to offer. Who's going to be wearing all those different the different jerseys, different numbers, all that's gonna be
It
crazy.
reminded me of an NBA free agency day one. Usually the NFL isn't like that.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Speaking of NBA, I mean all these things that we went over today, the defense.
Playoffs are going to be fun. We'll definitely talk more about it in the next episode, but it's going to start getting better.
Oh, 100%. We just had like so much to talk about today. It's just we like I feel like we were all over the place, but like
And
whatever.
I hope my voice is back. I hope I have a voice for the next one. So
Oh my
we'll
God.
see what
Yeah, and hopefully we
happens.
get everybody else like all back in here or in here in the first place. It'd be cool to see other opinions and everything.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I was talking because I kind of like took on like a moderator role, but once all 9 of us are in here, man, I'm not gonna be doing this much talking. I always talking this much to kind of keep everything flowing, but that's just how it is, I guess. You know what? We got a minute and about 33 seconds left, so I'm gonna hand this over to Jaden, who's been very quiet. Don't sign off just yet, but is there anything that you want to touch on?
Um, I didn't want to touch on anything. I just want to say this is just the beginning of everything. We had a lot to talk about today. I know we didn't cover everything that we posted about and whatever. I don't know if we missed anything either, but anybody have any thoughts?
For me, I'm just gonna say it right now. This has been great, and even though we didn't hit everything that we wanted to hit, we will in the future. But there's only 5 of us, limited time. We don't have all the time in the world, so you know it's just we'll figure it out. We got less than a minute. Whoever wants to send it away, send it away.
Yeah, shout out to our future listeners, bro. This is great.
All right, make sure you follow the Instagram, on the Twitter, get on the TikTok. Make sure you got to stay in with the socials, LinkedIn, and I guess keep us updated. We'll keep you updated, and we will see you on our next episode.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
All right, let's go. Day 1, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.